Welcome to the X-Files Fancast. To lead this playlist off, if you're only interested in the X-Files comics, that is, I'm starting off with something newer from IDW, the Origins comics run that introduces us to Mulder and Scully as children, specifically teenagers. I've been digging up the original Topps copies from the 90s, but I figured while I did that, going through their childhoods isn't a bad place to start. I also want to point out that there are crossovers within the current IDW X-Files comics, which just blows my mind. 30 Days a Night, I mean, I guess I can see that, but the conspiracy crossover event dips into, like, Ghostbusters and stuff like that, which I can't really see how that happens in particular. I don't know. I guess I have to read them. So I guess you could say I'm pretty excited to go through that material and find out how that even, works. I'm also excited about the infestation stuff, but I don't know if X-Files dips into that. The cover is a little Fox Mulder, but there's an adult Fox Mulder that looks surprisingly accurate compared to the cartoonized version of him as a kid. Before I go too far, the story is by Jody Hauser and Matthew Dow Smith. Art and colors by Chris Fanaglio. Letters by Desi Cienti. Production? Huh. Wonder what that means in comics. Anyway, that's Chris Mowry. Edits by Dento J. Tipton, and the publisher is Ted Adams. The Origins run I'm reading started in 2016, and it's available on Comixology or the IDW site directly for $1.99. You can steal it online, and the time to download it and convert it would roughly be $1.37 to $1.41 if you make somewhere around $15 an hour. If you make more an hour, it's actually more expensive to steal it. My time would make the value of this about $2.47 to steal. So why wouldn't I do that? Silly. I can buy a digital copy for cheaper. Plus it comes with the perks of the digital guided view and available on any device through Comixology. The paperback and hardcover will cost you somewhere between $7.78 and $20.72. But that is not just for this particular trade, it's for the entire collected run, which I think is 4 to 5 comics. I guess we'll find out as we go through. But if you're into the physical collection stuff, if that's the way you swing, that's what you're looking at. You can break that down by comic, but I would say the best deal, depending on how much you make, is probably Comixology, especially if you want to support the people who make the comics. Let's see. We open on November 27th, 1973. It's Fox's memory of the night that his sister Samantha was taken, and started his whole lifelong obsession with the search for the truth. From here, we shuffle to the next year, the directly next summer, in Martha's Vineyard, where the Mulder family used to spend. Martha's Vineyard is in Massachusetts. It's a very popular destination, very posh. And this is during the summer of 1974. You know what? I'm down the road from there. I've never actually been there. I should go see it while I live out here, since I moved so much. I may not get another chance. Oh my god, the ferry is so expensive. What the hell? I mean, maybe if I took a bike, it'd be $8, but wow, that is rough. It's almost $100. Oh, man. Okay, well, maybe that won't happen very soon. Where were we here? So Mulder is recording into a tape deck, old school tape deck, that there are currently no suspects. It's kind of sad if you think about it. This poor kid's sister goes missing and he begins to obsess over it. I can only imagine, right? I've got an army of brothers and sisters, but if any of them went missing like that, change everything. Reading the report over and over again, looking for something that must have been missed or forgotten in the report. We get a look at what their life as the Mulder family is like after Samantha's disappearance. It's incredibly quiet. People talking about them when they go out. Mulder dwelling on how he can't talk to his parents about it, seeing happy families in public. Eventually, we land on him on the beach reading Beyond Boggy Creek, The Bigfoot Legacy, and thinking it's silly because his sister's disappearance is a real unsolved mystery. Why are people reading this junk? Not the direction I thought Mulder would go, but I guess he's still a kid. The crazy shit has really only started to him, and that's probably what this story is about. Getting him put onto the research and the paranormal and fantastic. The book he's reading doesn't look real, but there's something similar to it actually out, surprisingly. It is called Beyond Boggy Creek, In Search of the Southern Sasquatch. Blah. But it came out in 2017. This comic came out in 2016. The summer that Mulder is reading the book is 1974. So, I mean, there's that. But I'll attach the link if you are interested in reading the book Beyond Boggy Creek. Pretend mysteries are easier to deal with. I can't even believe Mulder said that line. Is this the same Mulder from the show? They're messing with me. Messing with my emotions. Okay, so at this point we get introduced to Tim and Eric, two of Mulder's apparent friends. They start ribbing him about meeting girls and whatnot. You know, like, how's he gonna meet girls with his face in a book? They are his summer friends. Not being rich growing up, I have no concept of what that idea is. My friends were the same over the summer as they were during the school year. Oh, man, but do you remember summer break? So awesome. And it felt like forever, because you'd only been alive for a few years. Now it's like, I blink and I missed summer somehow. I mean, hell, it's 2020 at the time of this recording, and I just lost the year 2019. It's the first time I've lost an entire year. That is a terrible realization. Ugh. Man, I miss that experience. Okay. The boys decide to sneak out. Before we go with them, I like that they have Stratego in Fox's closet. That is the board game that he and Samantha were playing the night that she was taken. Have you ever actually played Stratego? I used to play it with my dad. I mean, he destroyed me every time. But still, surprisingly a fun game, even though I was a kid. I need to get with him and play that again. Probably still lose, but... okay, so as he's sneaking out, there's a pretty legit heavy thought that Mulder has. That he shouldn't be sneaking out, because what if his parents checked on him and he wasn't there? They would just re-experience that same loss all over again. Even though he would come back, like the initial, just everything. He starts rattling off the details of the case in his head, and I'm just like, that is some intense shit for a kid to have to contend with, man. They shouldn't have to think about that. But, you know, per the kid brain, he then subsequently says, fuck it, we're going. Turns out his summer bros want to go looking for UFOs. Boom, to be continued. It's a real quick read, and it's got some heavy stuff in it, man. Like, I was pretty surprised that they went the route that they did. So I'm pretty stoked to read what's going on next. Huge X-Files fan, so, I mean, this just plays right into that whole Lost vibe from the 90s. It also seems like it's set up to be read in more of a landscape view, which is like an interesting technical note to me. The guided view still works for it on Comixology, but the layouts lend themselves pretty well to a full landscape, more so than like the traditional portrait-style comics. I'm assuming that means the hard copy is a lot of full double-page spreads. Interesting way to go. Definitely more modern. I wonder if they did that with the you know, like the modern methods we have of reading comics, like on our phones and everything like that. or like reading comics through your Ouya on an astonishing comics reader on a 55-inch 4K flat screen? Yeah, I said Ouya. I have one. Two, actually. They are dope little consoles, and you can program to do all kinds of crazy shit. I know that they became like the butt of memes everywhere after their like flop launch, but man, I love the Ouya console. There's not really the platform to talk about that though. So, hypothetically, I guess you could say, if you were putting it on a 55-inch TV through whatever means you're doing it on, I just happen to be doing it via the Ouya. Looks beautiful. Like, you can get these wide screen sort of landscapes, and man, it's so good. But that's it for the first comic. In my other casts, I use music connected to the content I'm talking about in some way. I think what I'll do for this is go through the actual TV series and pull music. For the first song, we're going to bounce to Bach, the Brandenburg Concerto No. 4 Allegro. It comes up during Season 1, Episode 4, Conduit, as a piece of the data from the pages that boy writes in binary that kind of form that picture of his sister. So here we go. If you're not a fan of classical music, just stop here. Otherwise, the Brandenburg Concerto No. 4.